Hey guys, it's Cass the Awkward Gamer, and today I am playing a game called Kyle is Famous. It is like a interview, choose your own adventure, visual novel type of thing. I think it said there's over 100
Kyle
different
woke
types
up.
of endings.
He is famous. Kyle is host of the most popular talk show in recent memory, Stay Up Late with Kyle. Stay Up Late with Kyle has grown in popularity quickly in the last year, and the public has noticed. Inside has called Kyle a most excellent dumpy white man.
Excellent dumpy white man.
Top Tech noted that Kyle is inspiring youth to explore STEM fields. Most other talk shows are dedicated to discussing Kyle and his personal details. Most online videos are best-of clips taken from Kyle's latest broadcast.
All right.
The eye of the world is upon Kyle. Tonight is Kyle's most important guest interview yet. Stay Up Late with Kyle will be featuring Rachel May. She is a kind and lovely philanthropist. She is dear to the hearts of many. This interview requires preparation. Kyle cracked his eyes open, knowing today is his last chance to prepare for the interview. Kyle has 30 hours left. He must choose his actions wisely.
Okay. I didn't know it was going to have a voiceover. That's pretty neat. Start preparing. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely. Let's exit the bed. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his room. Let's open the closet. Kyle opened the closet. It was dark, and he could only really see his hanging shirts. Choose an outfit.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
Suit of armor. Let's skunk pasties. Let's go with a suit.
Kyle miraculously crammed his dumpy body into the suit. The chest pockets were filled with random knickknacks.
His dumpy body. Back to the room. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom. Let's scavenge.
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for
gossip.
Kyle firmly pressed his ear into the carpet, hoping to hear some stray words from the neighbors below. I heard Rachel May is going on a trip out of the country soon. Oh, girlfriend, tell me more. Well, what I will tell you is that every night I don a mask that looks like a bug and fight misdoers.
What the fuck? Did like an AI chatbot write this?
There was a stunned silence. Then a door opened and someone exited the neighbor's apartment.
That's quite enough. All right, let's just exit bedroom to hallway. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together. Let's leave the apartment. Kyle walked out of the apartment into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him. Let's visit the downstairs neighbors and see what that was about.
Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door. Good morning, neighbor, said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly.
Ask Gabby about being a vigilante.
Gabby asked Kyle, are you the bug vigilante? For a moment, Gabby looked stunned, but then she realized his seriousness. Gabby nodded once. The door shut in Kyle's face.
Okay, then. Let's visit the tech store. Kyle walked into the clean white tech store. He was greeted by Techno Jim, an elaborate cutout mascot playing soft music from a small microphone. Let's steal Techno Jim.
Quickly, before the attendant could acknowledge him, Kyle grabbed Techno Jim by the shoulders. Finding that Techno Jim's cardboard feet were bolted to the ground, Kyle started to heave upwards. After several tugs, Techno Jim broke free, leaving one foot and one leg behind. Kyle glanced at the attendant, who was staring, bewildered, and ran outside.
Let's just continue on. Let's go to our apartment and look at our kitchen. Kyle walked to the center of his kitchen. Open fridge.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat.
Let's... Ew. Eat crust on fridge wall? Ew, no. Let's prepare breakfast.
Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. "Good evening, Kyle," she said, looking him in the eyes. "I've been looking forward to being here." Kyle responded.
Answer politely.
"And I as well, Rachel," answered Kyle, extending his hand in greeting. "You are a most welcome guest." After other mild exchanges of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on.
Gossip about neighbor.
"Good evening, everybody," said Kyle. "My neighbor is a bug vigilante." With nothing more to say on the matter, he fell silent.
Probably a good thing. What do these mean? Oh, are these just things that I have? Oh, okay.
Rachel, also on camera, stared at her hands and wondered when she was going to be introduced. The producer started cutting to different camera angles to break the tension. Kyle continued to remain silent and stare forward blankly.
Oh, God.
After several minutes, neighbor Gabby walked out onto set.
When did she get here?
"Hi, everyone," she said, smiling hollowly. "My name is Gabby, and I'm not a bug vigilante." False. Kyle looked at Gabby and then returned to staring forwards. Gabby began to reply, but was interrupted by a bug-shaped intercom on her belt.
"Bug girl,
It squawked.
a robbery's in
fuck
progress
is
on
this?
East 3rd. Report immediate."
Gabby threw the intercom on the ground and crushed it under her foot. After a beat, she spoke tightly. "Something has come up suddenly and I must go." Gabby left the set. "Well," said Kyle, "that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us, Rachel." Kyle got up, shook Rachel's hand again, and walked past the cameras, leaving her alone. Not knowing what else to do, the producer ended the broadcast. In the coming days, fans of both
What?
Rachel and Kyle dubbed this show as a masterpiece of television. Stay Up Late with Kyle's online pages were updated to reflect this broadcast as the most popular ever.
So I didn't do too bad.
Kyle's producer later tried to have Rachel on the show again, but she was very, very, very busy.
Okay, let's do it again, but make different choices. We'll exit the bed. Let's sit at her desk. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down. A check-in desk drawer. Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there. A small key.
Kyle
Kyle-
grabbed the small key he kept in his desk.
Write notes for interview.
Kyle wrote down his first question.
Am I a mother? Is your mother a mother? How about are you a mother?
Kyle wrote down his second question.
What are some diet
Kyle
tips?
wrote down his third question.
What's your funniest story?
Kyle wrote down his last question.
Are you guilty?
Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk.
Back to room. Open the closet. Let's choose an outfit,
Kyle
but this time
decided
do
to
the
take
skunk
some time to choose the.
pasties.
Kyle chose the pasties made out of mashed skunk flesh.
Ew.
Getting the slimy garments to stay proved difficult, so Kyle opted to
Oh
stick
my
them to his
God.
body with hot glue.
Oh, okay. Wow. Let's exit to the hallway and go to the kitchen. Open fridge.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat.
Eat the crust on the fridge
Kyle
wall.
started scraping streaks of crud and spots of mold off of the walls of his fridge. After wadding it into a crusty, moist ball, Kyle popped it into his mouth and began to chew.
Oh, gross.
Several minutes of crunching later, Kyle finished and swallowed the ball whole. It felt sticky in his stomach.
Okay. Return to the hallway. Let's look at the locked door.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside.
Force the door with forehead.
Kyle decided it would be best to try to force the door open with use of his face. After smashing his features into solid wood for several minutes, Kyle gained severe short-term amnesia.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and leave. Visit tech store. Okay, showtime.
Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was...
All right, we know about all
As
this.
Kyle approached,
Let's get
"Good
to our
evening, Kyle."
first
Kyle responded.
response. Oh, I guess she asked what her name was. Or what her name was. Forget her name from Amnesia.
Hello. You. Kyle's ears began to ring from his concussion. Rachel looked at Kyle, slightly confused, but continued smiling. Before she noticed the glazed look in Kyle's eyes, the producer approached.
Time to get started.
He said, putting a hand on Kyle's shoulder.
Let's get stationed.
Kyle sat in the nearest chair, which was Rachel's. After a moment, Rachel hesitantly sat in the host chair. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good morning, everyone, said Kyle. My name is... Kyle made a desperate effort to remember his name, or really anything. Kyle looked at Rachel. Do you know who I am?
Oh, God.
He
Poor
asked.
Kyle.
Rachel looked back, confused. Who are you? Well, if you're not Kyle, I don't know who you are. Rachel smiled sweetly. Kyle made up his mind that he was probably Kyle.
Well, that's a good thing, because he is, so.
Well, he said, I'm Kyle. A long silence followed. Eventually, Rachel spoke again. And I'm Rachel. Hi, everyone. She waved. Hi, Rachel, said Kyle. So why are we here? Rachel was visibly worried. Ha ha, funny, she said. Weren't you planning on asking me any questions? I mean, I don't have any ideas, said. Kyle kept staring at Rachel. Someone coughed. Kyle looked around and noticed the crew. Who on earth are all of you? He asked.
God.
Nobody answered. Kyle got out of his chair and walked off frame, leaving Rachel alone with millions of viewers. Rachel smiled at the camera nervously. Well, she said, let me tell you some knock-knock jokes. Eventually, the producer ended the broadcast early due to technical issues. Kyle woke up in his bed the next day, remembering nothing about what had happened.
All right, we'll do one more. Let's do weird bad options now. Wither away.
Kyle decided to stay put and wither away. Kyle withered successfully and died.
Ah, shucks.
Kyle is now a ghost.
Oh.
This does not relieve him of his responsibilities.
Okay, let's get out of bed anyway. Oh, interesting. Scavenge.
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for...
Bugs.
Kyle started to pick between the fuzz of his bedroom carpet, hoping to catch a stray beetle or two. Soon, he had a small handful of various insects, dead and alive.
Eat.
Kyle threw back his head and crammed the sticky, wriggling mass into his mouth. He felt refreshed.
Great. Let's go to the hallway. Let's go to the kitchen and the pantry.
Kyle wanted to access the pantry, but found it was locked with a small keyhole.
Back to kitchen. Oh, that's what the bedroom... where is it? The key from in here is
Kyle.
for. Check
Kyle
pantry.
wanted to
Unlock
access
with
the
the
pantry,
small
but
key.
found it was... The pantry door lock creaked as if it hadn't moved for years, but eventually opened.
That's weird. Looking pantry.
Instead of an assortment of canned goods and grains, Kyle's pantry stored his massive
What?
amount of bottled lard.
What? Bottled lard? Why? Chug a bottle of
Kyle
it.
voraciously grabbed the closest bottle, snapped the neck against the wall, and sucked out all of the fat within a minute.
Oh, do it again.
Kyle wildly sucked down another bottle. He felt very sick.
Dude, do it again.
Kyle's vomit and the lard were mixing in a way to make it hard to tell which was which.
Finish off the
As
pantry.
Kyle finished the last bottle of lard, he felt a wave of accomplishment come over him.
Nope. Return to the kitchen. Let's go to the hallway and leave.
Kyle hurried to the set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived.
Yeah, that's normal. That's what normally happens.
Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an...
We know about that.
As Kyle approached her, Rachel's smile quickly turned to shock as she realized Kyle had not put on clothes that day.
Oh, that's right. We didn't. We became a ghost instead.
Kyle waved and smiled broadly. Rachel uncomfortably averted her eyes. Kyle started making his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member, none of whom looked at him directly. As it became apparent that Kyle had no intention of leaving, Rachel made some excuses and exited the set. One by one, the crew followed suit. Kyle was left all alone.
Oh, okay, one more. Okay, let's exit bed. Let's open the closet. Choose an outfit.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect
Let's do
outfit.
jeans.
Kyle decided on a fashion-forward,
goggles,
casual
whatever.
style.
Yeah.
He could barely see out of the goggles.
Great. Exit to hallway. Leave apartment. Let's visit our neighbor
Kyle
downstairs.
approached his downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named
Start conversation.
Good morning, neighbor, said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly.
And I'll ask her about herself.
Gabby asked Kyle, tell me about yourself. Gabby stiffened. Oh, you know, she said, putting on a fake smile. I just sit around here. Yes, I don't get around much. Never go out at night. I just stay here, right here. Gabby glared at Kyle. Convinced by Gabby's statement, Kyle bid her goodbye and
Kyle's
returned
not
to the
that
street.
smart. Visit tech store. Ask for free samples.
Kyle asked the store attendant whether or not they offered any free samples to important customers. The attendant gave Kyle a confused and slightly vacant look. Kyle began to beg for a free sample.
Poor guy.
Wanting Kyle to leave, the attendant grabbed a decrepit phone meant for spare parts and held it out.
Grab it with teeth.
Kyle firmly clamped his mouth around the outstretched phone, creating several punctures in the screen.
How strong are our teeth? Oh my god.
Kyle grunted and yanked with his head until the attendant let go of the phone. The phone is now Kyle's to use forever.
Okay. Let's visit the tech store again. Give review a free
This
sample.
phone, said Kyle, is several years old and has exposed wires coming out of the back. Kyle continued. Also, the screen has had issues ever since I used it to hammer nails into the wall. Furthermore, when I submerge it in water, I get severely shocked until it runs out of battery. The attendant looked at Kyle, pursed his lips, and said nothing. Feeling he had made his argument, Kyle decided to leave.
All right, showtime.
Kyle hurried. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here.
So far, so good.
Kyle
Kyle's-
responded.
Just by screaming and spinning in circles.
Kyle stretched his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards, and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start
That's no
the show.
fun. Insist on doing
Kyle
it.
shoved his producer out of the way, spread his arms wide, and began to scream loudly. He began to rotate slowly, screaming throughout, lightly brushing his hands against the faces of Rachel and his producer. After several minutes, Kyle was finished. He slowly put his hands to his sides and smiled. I'm ready, said
Sometimes
Kyle.
you just gotta scream and spin in circles. Slowly.
Rachel blinked at Kyle, shrugged, and walked over to her seat. A
Start
moment
the
after seating, the
interview.
studio... Good evening, everyone, said Kyle, looking at the camera. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle. Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello, Kyle, she said. I'm glad to be here. In response, Kyle collapsed on the
What
floor.
the fuck?
From a combination of stressful preparation and not eating anything, Kyle had passed out. Nobody in the studio quite knew what to do with him. They began to poke Kyle in the back to see if he moved. After a while, they ended the broadcast, shut off the lights, and went home. Kyle was left face first on the floor.
Oh, okay. Well, there are a bunch more endings that I obviously didn't get, but if this video gets enough views, again, let's go with like 500, because why not? It's not going to get that many, so let's aim high. Then I will come back and do more. But for now, that's it. That's it for today's video. Come back tomorrow for another one. I post videos every day of the week. Be sure to do the YouTube things. Follow the links below to keep up with me on other social media, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.